Switch cups with me now. I stared at him. What? Your water. Switch it with mine. He was already moving, placing his glass where mine had been, taking mine onto his tray. Don't drink what she gave you. I saw her put something in it when you were looking at the menu. My heart stopped. What are you talking about? I'm a recovering addict, ma'am. I know what crushed pills look like. She dissolved something in your water while you were distracted. He straightened, his voice returning to normal volume. Your chicken marsala and the pasta primavera. Enjoy your meal. He walked away before I could respond. My name is Catherine Wells. I'm 68 years old. I'm about to tell you how a stranger saved my life. The restaurant was Emma's choice. Bella, not an upscale Italian place downtown where reservations took weeks. She'd insisted on lunch, said we needed to talk about something important. When your only child says that with that particular tone in her voice, you show up. Mom, you look tired, Emma said as we settled into our booth. The waiter, a thin man in his 50s with kind eyes, poured our water. I was tired. 6 months as a widow had left me exhausted. But I showed up. I'm managing, sweetheart. That's actually what I wanted to discuss. She opened her menu, not meeting my eyes. David and I have been worried about you living alone in that big house. David, her husband of 3 years. David, the son-in-law, who talks in numbers and decides for her. I appreciate the concern, but I'm fine. Are you? She finally looked at me. Mrs. Chen from next door called David last week. She said you left the stove on twice this month. New? She arrived with a report. Stove. Kettle, a neighbor's call half-truths I hardly recognized. But Emma's expression told me arguing would be pointless. The waiter returned. She ordered for me something I don't eat. She knows. Pasta primavera for her, chicken marsala for me. I hated chicken marsala. She knew that. Anyway, Emma continued, David found this amazing assisted living community. The Meadows. It's only 20 minutes from our house. My throat tightened. I don't need assisted living, Emma. Mom, please don't make this harder than it is. She reached across the table, covering my hand with hers. We're not asking. The papers are already drawn up. What papers? Power of attorney. David's attorney prepared everything. You just need to sign and we can start the transition. We've already scheduled the movers for next week. The room tilted slightly. Next week? The house needs to be sold quickly. The market's good right now, and honestly, the proceeds will barely cover your care costs at the Meadows. David's been reviewing your finances, and Mom, you're not in good shape. Dad left some debts we didn't know about. That was a lie. Richard had been meticulous about money. Our savings weren't enormous, but we were comfortable. I'd seen the statements myself just last week. I haven't agreed to any of this, which is why we need to have this conversation. Her voice softened, took on that patient tone people use with children and the elderly. You're not thinking clearly anymore. The stove incidents, forgetting to pay bills. I haven't forgotten any bills. Mom, she squeezed my hand tighter. Mrs. Chen also mentioned you thought someone was in the house last Tuesday? You called the police at 2 a.m. I had heard something. The police found nothing, but I knew what I'd heard. Footsteps in Richard's study. I need to use the restroom, Emma said suddenly, standing. When I get back, we'll discuss the timeline. The waiter should have our food out soon. She walked away, her heels clicking against the tile floor. I sat there staring at my water glass, trying to process everything. Power of attorney, movers, sold house. The words kept circling, refusing to form a coherent picture. The waiter appeared beside my table. He set down our plates, then did something strange. He leaned close, his voice barely audible. Switch cups with me now. Stared at him. What? Your water. Switch it with mine. He was already moving, placing his glass where mine had been, taking mine onto his tray. Don't drink what she gave you. I saw her put something in it when you were looking at the menu. My heart stopped. What are you talking about? I'm a recovering addict, ma'am. I know what crushed pills look like. She dissolved something in your water while you were distracted. He straightened, his voice returning to normal volume. Your chicken marsala and the pasta primavera. Enjoy your meal. He walked away before I could respond. I looked down at the water glass. It looked exactly like it had before. Clear, normal. But I hadn't seen Emma do anything, hadn't noticed her hands moving. I'd been fumbling with my reading glasses, trying to see the menu. Emma returned, sliding back into her seat with a smile. Sorry about that. Where were we? You were telling me about the meadows, I said slowly, watching her face. Right. So the move-in date is tentatively scheduled for the 15th. That gives us 8 days to pack your essentials. She picked up her fork, twirling pasta. David's already spoken to a realtor. We're listing the house at $495. Our house was worth at least $750. I knew because I'd had it appraised 3 months ago. Thinking about a reverse mortgage. That seems low, I said. The market's changing. Mom, we need to move fast. She took a bite, chewed, swallowed. Then she gestured to my water. Drink something? You look pale. I picked up the glass, brought it to my lips. Watched Emma watch me over her pasta. I set it back down. Not thirsty. Something flickered across her face. Annoyance. Concern. It vanished too quickly to tell. Mom, you need to stay hydrated. The doctor said, which doctor? I haven't seen a doctor in months. Dr. Morrison. David set up an appointment for you last week. I didn't go to any appointment. That's the problem. Emma's voice hardened. You're forgetting things. Important things. That's why we need to act now before something serious happens. I thought about the waiter's words. About Emma's hands moving while I looked away. About papers already drawn up and movers already scheduled and a house about to be sold for $200,000 less than its value. I need to think about this, I said. It's nothing to think about. Mom, I'm trying to help you by drugging my water. The words came out before I could stop them. Emma froze, her fork halfway to her mouth. For 3 seconds, maybe 4, neither of us moved. Then she laughed. What are you talking about? The waiter saw you put something in my water. Mom, that's insane. Why would I drug you? You tell me. She set down her fork carefully. This is exactly what I'm talking about. These paranoid delusions. First, you think someone's breaking into the house. Now you think I'm trying to poison you? He saw you, Emma. Who? The waiter. She looked around. Where is he? Let's ask him. But the waiter had disappeared into the kitchen. Emma pulled out her phone, typing quickly. What are you doing? I asked. Texting David. I think we need to move faster on this. If you're having paranoid episodes in public, I'm not having an episode. Then drink your water. She pushed the glass toward me. Prove it. Show me you trust your own daughter. We stared at each other across the table. In that moment, I barely recognized the woman sitting across from me. When had Emma's eyes become so cold? When had her smile turned sharp? No, I said quietly. Fine. She stood abruptly, grabbing her purse. I'm calling David. We're taking you to the hospital. If you won't cooperate voluntarily, we'll get a court order. Dr. Morrison will testify about your declining mental state. I've never met Dr. Morrison. That's what you'll say? But he has records of your appointments, your symptoms, your diagnosis. She leaned close, and for the first time I saw something real in her expression. Desperation. Mom, please don't make this ugly. Just sign the papers. Move to the meadows. Let us handle everything. It'll be so much easier if you cooperate. Easier for who? She didn't answer. Just walked toward the entrance, phone pressed to her ear. I sat there, trapped in the booth, staring at the poisoned water. My daughter had just tried to drug me, had fabricated medical records, was planning to steal my house, my savings, my life. The waiter reappeared. She's calling someone. You should leave. Now, I can't. Ma'am, I did 8 years in San Quentin for prescription fraud. I know how this works. She's drugging you to make you seem incompetent. Once you're foggy and confused, she'll have witnesses who can testify you're mentally unfit. Then the power of attorney goes through without your real consent, and suddenly she controls everything. But why? Why would Emma do this? Money, it's always money. He glanced toward the entrance where Emma was still on her phone. My shift ends in 10 minutes. I can drive you somewhere safe. Police station. Lawyer's office. Wherever you need. I don't even know your name. Marcus. He pulled out his phone, quickly taking a photo of the water glass. Evidence. Just in case. So, are you coming or staying? I looked at my daughter, silhouetted against the restaurant's bright windows. Looked at the water glass with its dissolved pills. Looked at Marcus, this stranger offering help when my own child was trying to destroy me. I'm coming. We went out through the kitchen. The staff barely looked up as Marcus guided me past prep stations and industrial ovens to a back exit. His car was a beat-up Honda that smelled like air freshener and regret. Where to? He asked. I don't know. My hands were shaking. I don't know what to do. Police first. Report what happened. Get it on record. Do you say I'm confused? Paranoid? She'll have those fake medical records. Marcus pulled out of the parking lot, checking his mirrors constantly. Then we need to prove you're not. Is there anyone who can vouch for your mental state? Friends? Other family? I thought about it. Most of our friends had been Richard's colleagues, and they drifted away after the funeral. My sister lived in Oregon, and we talked maybe twice a year. Emma had been my primary contact with the world for months now. Emma, who'd been isolating me while building her case that I was incompetent. Richard's attorney, I said suddenly. James Bradford. He handled our will. He knows I was sound when we met with him 4 months ago. Good. What's his number? I didn't have my phone. It was in my purse, which was still at the restaurant table. But I remembered James's office address. Marcus drove while I tried to organize my thoughts into something coherent. James's office was in a converted Victorian downtown. His secretary looked surprised when I walked in without an appointment. Even more surprised when Marcus followed me. Mrs. Wells, is everything all right? I need to see James. It's urgent. 10 minutes later, I was sitting in James's mahogany-paneled office, trying to explain how my daughter had just attempted to drug me into incompetence. Marcus added his observations. James listened, his expression growing darker. Catherine, I need to tell you something, he said when I finished. Emma came to see me 3 weeks ago. She asked about your will, about Richard's estate, about how to establish guardianship for an elderly parent with dementia. The room tilted again. What did you tell her? I told her I couldn't discuss your private affairs without your consent. She said she'd get a court order if necessary. He opened a file on his desk. She also asked me to confirm that you and Richard had significant assets. I refused, but Catherine, she seemed to already know details she shouldn't have. Bank account numbers. Investment information. She'd been going through your private papers for how long? I don't know. But I'm concerned enough that I contacted the State Bar's Ethics Committee about elder financial abuse. I wanted to establish a record in case he stopped, in case something like this happened. Marcus spoke up. Sir, do you think the daughter would actually go through with drugging her mother? If she's desperate enough? Yes. James looked at me. Catherine, I think you need to understand how serious this is. Emma isn't just trying to take control of your finances. She's trying to erase you. Make you a non-person. Once she has power of attorney and you're declared incompetent, she can do anything. Sell your house. Empty your accounts. Put you in a facility where you have no contact with the outside world. But why? We're not wealthy. Even with Richard's life insurance, you're worth more than you think. James pulled out another file. Richard made some excellent investments over the years. Your current assets total approximately $1.8 million. The house alone is worth $750, between savings, investments, and Richard's life insurance. Emma stands to gain everything if you're declared incompetent. I couldn't breathe. Richard never told me. He wanted to surprise you for your 40th anniversary next year. He'd planned a trip to Italy, a complete home renovation, everything you'd talked about. He shared his plans with me the week before he died. James's voice softened. Catherine, you're a wealthy woman. And Emma knows it. The office went silent. Outside, I could hear traffic voices, the normal sounds of the world continuing while mine fell apart. What do? I whispered. First, we document everything that happened today. Marcus's testimony about the drugged water. The fake medical records Emma referenced. Her attempt to coerce you into signing power of attorney. James was already typing. Then we get ahead of this. File for a restraining order. Contest any guardianship petition before it starts? Secure your assets so Emma can't access them. She's my daughter. I know, and I'm sorry. But she's also trying to rob you of everything, including your freedom. My phone rang. It was in my purse, which I suddenly realized was still in Marcus's car. He retrieved it. Emma's name flashed on the screen. 16 missed calls. 23 text messages. I answered. Mom, thank God, where are you? You just disappeared. I've been so worried. I know what you did, Emma. Silence. Mom, I don't know what you think. I know about the drugs and the water. I know about the fake medical records. I know about Dr. Morrison, who I've never met. I know you're trying to have me declared incompetent so you can steal Dad's money. Mom, you're having a psychotic break. Please, tell me where you are. Let me help you. I'm with my attorney. We're filing a restraining order. Another silence, longer this time. When Emma spoke again, her voice had changed completely. No more fake concern. Just cold calculation. You can't prove anything. Dr. Morrison's records are legal and documented. Multiple witnesses will testify to your declining mental state. By the time this goes to court, I'll have you declared incompetent and you'll be in a locked memory care facility. The waiter saw you drug my water. A convicted felon. That's your witness. She laughed. Mom, you're making this so much harder than it needs to be. Just cooperate. Sign the papers. You'll be taken care of, I promise. It's in a facility where you control my communication. Where you can visit whenever you want to remind me I'm powerless. If that's what it takes. There it was. The truth. Finally. No more pretending. My daughter wanted me erased and she'd do whatever necessary to make it happen. Try it, I said. I'll fight you every step. You'll lose. I hung up. James was watching me. We need to move fast. Emma's probably already calling her attorney. If she files for emergency guardianship and claims you're in immediate danger, a judge might grant temporary orders before we can respond. What happens then? She'd have legal authority to place you in a facility within 24 hours. Marcus spoke up. So we make sure that doesn't happen. We establish Mrs. Wells is completely competent right now. Today, before Emma can build her case. Exactly. James was already making calls. Catherine, I'm scheduling a psychiatric evaluation with Dr. Chanand. No, not Mrs. Chen from next door. A forensic psychiatrist who specializes in competency evaluations. We'll have documented proof of your mental state. Then we'll get you to a safe location Emma doesn't know about while we prepare our legal response. Where? I have a colleague who runs a women's shelter. It's secure, anonymous, and it'll keep you safe while we work. I can't hide in a shelter from my own daughter, Catherine. James's voice was gentle but firm. Emma just tried to drug you in a public restaurant. This isn't about mother-daughter disagreements anymore. This is about your survival. The evaluation took 3 hours. Dr. Chen, a woman about my age with sharp eyes and gentle questions, put me through every cognitive test imaginable. Memory recall, problem solving, basic reasoning. She asked about my life, my relationships, my understanding of what was happening. When we finished, she handed James a sealed report. Mrs. Wells shows no signs of cognitive decline whatsoever. She's articulate, rational, and fully capable of making her own decisions. In my professional opinion, any attempt to declare her incompetent would be without medical merit. Relief flooded through me, followed immediately by rage. Emma had been planning to destroy this. To take a healthy, capable woman and turn her into a legal non-person for money. James drove me to the shelter himself. It was in an unmarked building in a quiet neighborhood. Inside were a dozen women, each with their own story of family betrayal. The director, a woman named Susan, showed me to a small room with a bed, a desk, and a window with bars. You're safe here, Susan said. No one can find you without a court order. And by then, Mr. Bradford will have protective measures in place. I sat on the bed looking around at my new reality. 68 years old, hiding in a shelter from my own child. Marcus appeared in the doorway. He'd been waiting in the lobby. I should go, he said. But I wanted to make sure you were settled, Marcus. I stood. Thank you. You saved my life today. I just did what anyone should do. Though, I'll be honest, after my past, it feels good to be the one helping instead of hurting. He handed me a business card. That's my number. If you need anything, testimony, witness statement, whatever, call me. After he left, I sat in the small room and cried. Not from fear, though I was afraid. Not from sadness, though my heart was breaking. I cried from rage. Pure, clean fury at what Emma had tried to do, at how close she'd come to succeeding. My phone buzzed. A text from Emma, "Mom, please. We can work this out. I love you." I blocked her number. Over the next 3 days, James worked like a man possessed. He filed restraining orders, contested Emma's guardianship petition before she could submit it, froze all my accounts so Emma couldn't access them, gathered statements from Marcus, from Dr. Chen, from Mrs. Chen, who it turned out had never called Emma with concerns. That had been another lie. On the 4th day, James arrived at the shelter with news. Emma's attorney contacted me. They want to negotiate. Negotiate what? She's willing to drop the guardianship proceedings if you agree not to press charges for attempted poisoning. No, Catherine, no. She tried to destroy my life for money. She fabricated medical records. She would have locked me in a facility and stolen everything Richard and I built. And you want me to let her walk away? James sat down across from me. I understand your anger. But prosecution will be difficult. The waiter's testimony might not hold up. Emma could claim she was adding a vitamin supplement, not a sedative. Without a tox screen of the actual water, which we don't have, it's her word against Marcus's. What about the fake medical records? Dr. Morrison is a real doctor. Emma could claim she was confused about dates, that you did see him and forgot. It's all circumstantial. I thought about Emma's cold voice on the phone, her calculation, her complete lack of remorse. What happens if I refuse to negotiate? We go to trial. Could take a year or more. Emma will fight every step. Drag Richard's name through the mud. Claim he was hiding money from you. That you're vengeful and unstable. Even if we win, the victory will be expensive, exhausting, and public. And if I negotiate, she stays away from you permanently. No contact. You retain full control of your assets. We put legal safeguards in place so she can never attempt this again. And she signs away any inheritance rights. When you die, everything goes where you choose: charity, friends, cousins, but not to her. I looked out the barred window at the ordinary street below. Somewhere out there, Emma was waiting for my answer. Probably already planning her next move. Probably already justifying her actions to David, to her friends, maybe even to herself. There's one thing I need to know first, I said. I need to talk to Emma, face to face. With you present. I need to hear her explain why. James looked doubtful. Catherine, I'm not sure that's wise. I need to know if my daughter is still in there somewhere, or if she's completely gone. The meeting took place in James's conference room. Emma arrived with her attorney, a sharp-faced woman named Patricia Chuno, relation to Dr. Chen or Mrs. Chen. Apparently Chen was just a popular name in legal circles. Emma looked tired, scared even. She sat across from me, hands folded on the table. And for a moment I saw the little girl who used to crawl into bed with me during thunderstorms. Then she spoke. I'm prepared to agree to Mr. Bradford's terms. No contact, no inheritance, full financial independence for you. In exchange, you drop all criminal complaints and we all move on with our lives. That's not what I asked you here for, I said. I want to know why, Emma. Why did you do this? She looked at her attorney, who nodded slightly. David and I have some financial difficulties. When Dad died, I hoped there might be something in his estate that could help us. When I found his investment records in his study, I realized there was a lot more than something. There was everything we needed, so you decided to steal it. I decided to secure my future. Our future. Do you have any idea how hard it's been, Mom? Watching you live in that big house, sitting on almost $2 million while David and I struggle with medical bills and mortgage payments. And you could have asked me for help. Would you have given me $1.8 million? Would you have just handed over everything Dad built? I would have helped my daughter if she was in trouble. I wouldn't have helped someone trying to destroy me. Emma's face hardened. You don't understand what it's like. To know the money is there, right there, and to watch you waste it on nothing. You don't travel. You don't spend. You just exist in that house like a ghost while she stopped. While you what? I asked quietly. While I lose everything, she finished. The house is being foreclosed on. David's business is failing. We're drowning, Mom. And you have the lifeboat but won't throw it. So you decided to take it by making me disappear. I decided to take control of a situation where you weren't capable of making good decisions anymore. I was perfectly capable. You just didn't like my decisions. Emma stood up. Are we doing this deal or not? Because if not, I'll see you in court. I looked at my daughter, this stranger wearing my daughter's face, and knew the truth. The Emma I'd raised was gone. Maybe she'd been gone for years and I just hadn't wanted to see it. This woman sitting across from me was someone else entirely. Someone who'd looked at her mother and seen only an obstacle to money. We have a deal, I said. Under one condition. Patricia Chen looked up sharply. The terms are already established. One additional term. Non-negotiable. What is it? Emma asked. You tell your children the truth. Not now, but someday when they're adults. You tell them what you tried to do to their grandmother. You don't get to rewrite this into a story where I'm the villain who cut you off for no reason. They deserve to know who their mother really is. Emma went pale. I can't do that. Then we go to trial. Mom, those are my terms. Take them or leave them. Patricia Chen and Emma whispered urgently. Finally, Patricia looked up. We agree. When the children reach age 25, Mrs. Henderson will provide them with a written account of these events. We'll include that requirement in the settlement agreement. Notarized, James added, with penalties if she fails to comply. We signed the papers that afternoon. Emma walked out without saying goodbye. I watched her go, this woman I'd given birth to, raised, loved. Watched her disappear into the parking garage and out of my life forever. How do you feel? James asked. I thought about it. 3 months later, I sold the house. Not for the lowball price Emma had planned, but for its full value. I donated a substantial amount to women's shelters places like the one that had kept me safe. I set up a trust for Emma's children to be distributed when they turned 25, along with the letter I wrote explaining everything their mother had tried to do. I bought a condo overlooking the bay. Started traveling Italy like Richard had planned, then Greece, then Japan. Started painting again, something I hadn't done since Emma was born. Started living instead of just existing. Marcus and I stay in touch. He's in school now, studying social work. Says he wants to help people the way he helped me. I've offered to pay his tuition. He's too proud to accept, but I'm putting money aside for him anyway. For when he graduates and starts his practice helping people escape families that want to destroy them. I'm 71 now. 3 years since that lunch at Bella Knot. 3 years since a stranger told me to switch cups and saved my life. People ask if I miss Emma, if I regret cutting her off. The answer is complicated. I miss the daughter I thought I had. I grieve the relationship I believed we shared. But I don't miss the woman who tried to erase me for money. I don't regret protecting myself from someone who saw me as nothing more than an obstacle to wealth. Some betrayals are too profound to forgive. Not because forgiveness isn't possible, but because some people prove they're not safe to forgive. Emma showed me exactly who she was. Believing her would have cost me everything. I keep Marcus's business card in my wallet. A reminder that sometimes salvation comes from strangers who see what family refuses to acknowledge. That kindness exists in unexpected places. That you can be 68 years old and still need someone to tell you, switch cups now, 3 years ago. My daughter tried to drug me. Today, I'm drinking coffee on my balcony, watching sailboats cross the bay, planning my next adventure. I chose the right cup. And that made all the difference. Switch cups or sign the papers. What would you choose? Comment your boundary in one sentence. Your courage could be the push another woman needs tonight. Don't leave this here. Like, share, and subscribe for stories where truth beats manipulation.